Evening televiewers, you are welcome for this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are sorry for the very late start of the program. We make machines at times that decide to play fast on us. Also, the fact that some of our panelists are often caught in traffic. However, we are glad they are in the studio with us and are ready to discuss on what we put in stock for us this evening. We are going to be looking at regional integration in Africa and focusing on the crisis in CEMAC. We know that the ambassador of Chad to Cameroon was recalled by his nation for consultations because of some issues that has to do with the petroleum exploration in that country with Cameroon and some officials that are described by the Chadian officials as not being serious and wanting to interfere into what they consider as a Chadian issue. And they are calling on the CEMAC sub-region to look into it and fix issues so that a relationship between these two brotherly nations could be restored and moving forward as they have been in the past. We are discussing this with persons who are considered Pan-Africanist, persons who understand how the African diplomatic affairs run. That is why we invited Dr. Michael Dimancho, who is a lecturer, to be part of this edition of the program. Good evening and welcome.
Thanks so much, Mr. Leo. It's a pleasure to be here and to share my views on issue touching on Africa. You know, when it's an issue that is touching two friendly countries like Chad and Cameroon, we begin to get worried because, you know, many a times when Idris Deby Igno comes to Cameroon, when he was alive, he would address his counterpart, the president of Cameroon, Mr. Paul Biya, as chef frère. And in many other occasions, he will even add that adjective to a superlative, très chef frère. And if at this point in time we are talking about a rift between Chad and Cameroon, then we need to get worried. Not only worried here in Cameroon and in Chad, but worried in Africa as a whole, because these are two countries that are found in the CEMAC zone. And of course, we are talking about blocks here.
Okay, we're also in the company of Dr. Akojo Nako, who's also a lecturer with some universities across Cameroon. We're glad to have you, Doctor.
Yeah, Leonard, it's a pleasure. Once more, we are talking Africa, and again, Chad, a very good and a brother to Cameroon. We remember the Boko Haram crisis was highly assisted to be chased away. In fact, the Boko Haram was chased away in Cameroon with a strict collaboration of bilateral between Cameroon and Chad. And many others could equally think that within the light of the Chad-Cameroon pipeline, it was a controversy. And today we still realize that the Chad-Cameroon pipeline and the oil sector in Chad is obviously and now maybe bringing the country into conflict with Cameroon. Is it not just the African egoistic tendency that every time some people feel that they are masters of others and others feel that they are more powerful and maybe thinking to impose on the other? The Chadians are just being preservative or preventive on protecting what they think belongs to them, and that the Cameroonian government or personalities of the state, they said, rated interfering with the domestic affairs of that nation. It is quite a principle in international law that sovereignty belongs to the nation and that nobody has the power, the liberty to interfere in one domestic affairs. It is what the Chadians might be considering, and Mahamat Idris Deby is thinking that Cameroonian authorities, those at top-ranking places, are not supposed to interfere with the Chadian activities.
Okay, Dr. Dimancho, let's understand the workings of CEMAC as an economic region. Do you understand? Do you actually see this as an economic hub, as a market, as people from the same block working together?
Well, yes and no. Okay. Yes, because in principle, they are an economic community. And of course, they hold meetings together under the name CEMAC. Economic communities of Central African states. In that light, in that perspective, they are broader, they are an economic bloc. But in terms of the principles, the rules and regulations, in terms of actually the work that they are supposed to do, the collaboration that they are supposed to mend together, I would say no. Because we have had many cases in a CEMAC zone where we thought we will have a concerted voice of the CEMAC that will come out and after raise his voice. I'm talking here of first the Boko Haram issue. Yes, it was left in the hands of Chad and Cameroon because it's touched much more on these two countries. And I'm talking recently of the Anglophone crisis. We have been expecting the CEMAC, just like the ECOWAS, that usually comes out and even punishes and even places some embargo on some of the countries of the East African community. We were expecting that the CEMAC too should follow in that line as countries that are together to defend their interests. But when we see that in the face of the difficulties that Cameroon has gone through, especially in the face of concerning the Anglophone community, and we have not heard any member of the CEMAC, either be it Chad, Central African Republic, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, I mean, nobody has come out to actually openly, I mean, say or condemn what is happening or condemn the way even Cameroon is handling the issue. Nobody has come. So we have seen as if there are 6 friends who are collaboratively working on the interests of the individuals and not the interests of the people. Because if they are working on the interests of the people, I think they should be able to call the individuals to order when something is going wrong. It appears as if we have strong men in a CEMAC zone and we don't have strong institutions. And that is where I have a worry.
Yes, do you see CEMAC, Dr. John Ako, as an economic bloc of people from the same region, brothers and sisters working together, or you also see it like what he just said, persons working for their selfish interests, but from time to time just gather to talk about, give the impression that they're working together?
CEMAC, like any other region, respect what we call the AU calendar. The AU calendar obliges member states and the various economic blocs to meet at least once a year. You have the Council of Presidents, you have head of states. Equally, remember, sometime the Chad-Cameroon corridor was blocked with Boko Haram. You even find equally Cameroon, Bangui, Central African Republic equally facing a problem. Then again, in the life of other people, you say that Cameroonians have been chased off in Equatorial Guinea, others have been chased in Gabon, others flocked and then thrown into boats to be abandoned somewhere in Kribi. It gives an idea that somewhere, even what we call of a common CEMAC passport, which we are still waiting. Of recent, what we have seen gaining trend is the issue of the common CEMAC number plate for cars, which the government is insisting. And we are asking, is it really a propaganda or that the CEMAC countries are willing to function together? Like we just realized with the situation with Chad, it was too urgent for Chad to have called his ambassador back without really even sending a peace envoy to Yaoundé. But what is going on? Why? But what we have realized is that within the CEMAC region and somewhere the colonial powers that be are always trying to still have infiltration into independence of such country. You can remember we were told that when Mohamed Idriss Déby came to Yaoundé during the last CEMAC summit, it was a tete-a-tete with the President of the Republic. And this particular issue now coming into more energy crisis between ExxonMobil and Savannah Energy was equally raised. And Mohamed Idriss Déby was waiting that 1 month after the CEMAC summit, Cameroon would have carried some steps to resolve the issue. We were equally told by some corridors that Frank Emmanuel Biya was equally in Jamenda and trying to meet with the President of Chad to discuss what this is, because they said the issue of ExxonMobil giving up who is the majority shareholder of the oil Chad-Cameroon pipeline. And now when he ceded his own part of the shares to Savannah Energy, those shares in between the lines, Savannah was presented as a foreign group that was equally having interest in managing those part of ExxonMobil. But what has happened? They came later to realize that all those who were presented or were behind the takeover of ExxonMobil's shares on Chad-Cameroon pipeline were Cameroonians. And so with the coming of the son, whom We know very well he's a military guy. He has his own approach in resolving issues. To him, he thinks that 1 month was too much to the President of the Republic to have resolved it internally.
But now, the issue is, many persons say that the Chadians felt that Savannah was a foreign company.
Yes, that's what we are saying at the beginning.
Yes, only to discover that apparently it is owned by
Cameroonians.
Yes, but what is the problem? Would they just be satisfied that they are dealing with the Europeans or the Americans and suddenly become so angry because this company is supposedly actually owned by their brothers? What is the problem?
No, there is a problem of betrayal.
Okay.
There's a problem of betrayal. Let us try to understand the intrigues in it. This issue comes from the pipeline, Chad Cameroon pipeline issue. You know, there were 3 partners in it. You had the state of Chad, the state of Cameroon, and then you had the ExxonMobil. These were the 3 partners that owned the shares, and ExxonMobil, fortunately, had 40% of the shares. And of course, at one moment, ExxonMobil feels that, okay, they want to desist. They want to lease out their own shares and leave. In effect, they were supposed to advertise the shares between Cameroon and Chad, so that either Cameroon buys the shares, or Chad buys the shares, or they lease out the shares to an international petroleum company that is recognized in the world. Well, I want to put the issue of recognized in inverted commas, open and quote. But to their greatest chagrin, they bring in Savannah Energy. Of course, Savannah Energy is a British company, and present it in front that they are the one who are taking over ExxonMobil. Of course, I'm saying that it's betrayal because at the long run, they realize that those who are running Savannah Energy are Cameroonians, and of course, those are the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon. Do you feel like you are? I mean, you are being cheated. It's like, why is there no openness in it? You know that this is a Chad Cameroon pipeline. Chad is just unfortunate.
Cheated by who? Who was doing the handover?
No, but the Cameroon has cheated because those who are the forefront are Cameroonians, and they are those who are the high-profile people and the presidents of the Republic, and they are feeling cheated, of course. Meaning that what? They were supposed to be open with the Chadians. If maybe come openly to discuss with them. And you know, series of missions went on. The son of the president was in charge, discussed, and of course trying to cajole. I mean, to understand.
There is no official statement that says that the son of the president was there because of this, because some person said that he went negotiating for the opening of a bank over there.
Well, secondly, we had Elong Poche, who also went there. You will still say that he was also going to open a bank, but we know that this was a negotiation. General Mahatma Idris Deby Ino was in Yaoundé, and he had tete-a-tete with the president of Cameroon. You will still say that he was talking tete-a-tete opening a bank in Cameroon, but I think there was a negotiation towards that, and they thought that, okay, let us talk this thing face to face as father and son, because I know he considered General Mahatma now as a son. And given, you know, in my opening discourse, I talked about how the father used to deal with the president of Cameroon, and at every moment he would address him as cher frere or très cher frere. And of course, some of these things,
is that an official position of Cameroon, or it is the workings of some high-profile personalities?
But of course, but we need a statement to that light. Why are we always at the defensive? Because look at the statement from Chad is official, read on the national television. But we thought that if there was actually some, people were honest about what they did, some good faith in it, we'll have had a counter statement from the state of Cameroon. So, well, this is how things went. But you find what is happening now, there's negotiation under the table in order to fine-tune and say, I've already heard, on social media now, there are already statements, not official, that Frank there is trying to explain how the issue, but we leave people to bring in their own suggestion, to bring in their own interpretations to things, and that's what I'm saying. We are defensive. We are supposed to be offensive in communication of this nature. This is a diplomatic issue.
Yeah, but doctor said that it was it was too quick to have taken this step. Why don't you also think that maybe the state of Cameroon is taking its time to actually understand? Because
I wanted
okay.
There is one thing with Cameroon government. There are a lot of things we need to know. Somebody even defended a thesis on le silence présidentiel. And that meaning the presidency of Cameroon used silence as an instrument of governance. Which means that somewhere they always want Cameroonians to talk and the world to talk before even coming in. But now in an active ruling government, what I want us to know is that accountability and information remains one of the principles of good governance. And which means we are, even myself, the information we are having it on foreign pages. The Cameroon government maybe is going to come 1 month after with an official communique now from the Ministry of Communication telling us that what we have been talking is not what, and meaning what they have is the best source. But we need what they said, a stitch in time saves 9, and this is what the government doesn't know. And even when you look at what happens in the northwest and the southwest, it is not different. The Canadian talk after the Canadian foreign minister said the ambassador was okay, and Cameroon just waited after 3 weeks to tell you that nothing was going on. And it is sad. In a diplomatic tussle like this, we need to show that we are equally active. There is even somebody asking if we still have a minister for external relations. This is Lojan Bella Bella, because people don't hear about him. These are instances in which the foreign minister was supposed to be involved. He's supposed to be taken to the press just the next minute with a state position on the diplomatic tussle between Cameroon and Chad. But at the end of the day, we begin to think that really maybe the machines in Yaoundé are weak, the machines have become obsolete, or the machines, the batteries, or the lights, since a NEO 2 disturbs everywhere, are not active to function and respond to issues which are urgent. Silence in governance is out of fashion. We find in the developed or advanced nation, president giving press conference every minute on issues plaguing the nation. But when you come to Cameroon, I will tell you that they said the silence of the president is an instrument of governance. To what extent that is going to help us here still remain doubtful.
And I was going to come in to say, Mr. Leo, you know, in that communique, which I read with a lot of interest, and the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of Chad, actually reiterated that they are defending their interest and respect. I mean, this speaks volumes. This speaks volume. And you know, sometimes there is this silence on the part of Cameroon because of the issue of oil in Cameroon. Have we ever heard any oil stuff defended in the National Assembly? No. So it is a very, very delicate thing, and they are now calculating on how they are going to come out to talk about it. But I think that it's not a country like Chad that should be betrayed. You remember that in 2009, Chad opened a consul in Douala, and Chad relations with Cameroon started at the independence. You know, it's a long-standing cooperation that they have had together. And you know, the Chadian community is the most populous in Cameroon at the moment. Means that what? There is that trust that Chad actually has with Cameroon, given to the fact that both countries share key players in the region, and they share common interests in security, which we have already talked about. They share trade and economic development. How do you think that countries that share brotherly trade, and all these are countries that trade like brothers, I mean, or let me call brothers and sisters, and at this particular moment there is somebody who is wanting to play maybe a chameleon, or wanting to play a wise person? This is just exactly what the minister is trying to talk about: defending interests and defending their respect. Don't think maybe because we didn't have the sea, where we can transport this oil and sell, I mean, abroad, that we have come to our own brother here down here to assist us be able to transport the oil to wherever I want to sell it, and now they want to use this opportunity because of what we don't have in order to maltreat us. And exactly that is what they are talking about: respect. They need to respect them, because Cameroon has been gaining from this Chad Cameroon pipeline issue, and therefore it is not now that they should begin. And the worst of it all is that it is not even the government, because those whose name are coming up is not the state of Cameroon that is coming up, is their names of individuals at the presidency of the republic. If it was an issue of state, well, we'll have understood, but it is much more deplorable, because it is something of private. I mean, private name coming on time and time again.
Yeah, those are speculations, Doctor. Yes, but when Chad calls off his its ambassador from Cameroon, is it to put pressure on Cameroon?
It is in fact, in diplomacy, it is an instrument to regulate certain issues, and they said it was for consultation. It was for consultation maybe the Chadian ambassador to Cameroon has better information than they who are in Jamena, so he's going to inform them the position of the government. It is rather unfortunate that the Chadian ambassador is leaving Cameroon where nothing official has been made. And so it's maybe suspending diplomatic activities in Cameroon too. The moment the ambassador is called off, it is an information that diplomatic activities in Cameroon, between Cameroon and Chad, equally be suspended. Don't get it again worried in the days ahead for Chad to close his border and that nothing leaves Cameroon to Chad if steps are not taken. These are diplomatic instruments which others use to mount pressure. But I'm telling you that the government that I know, the government that moves at a snail pace, the government that hardly responds to stimulus is the government in Yaoundé. We are not even by this hour that we are talking, still waiting that the government is still to speak. The very first hour when the Chadian authorities put out such a decision, Cameroon was supposed to respond. I don't know where we want to place ourselves. We say we are the giants of the CEMAC region, but at the end, I want to believe we are not giving any example. I want to equally guarantee with what Prof. Dimacho was saying. It is not like it is not a state issue. Right in the agreement, it was discovered that Savannah, 10% of Savannah interests or shares are owned by SNH, which means that that is a state corporation from Cameroon. And in all its entirety, Chad feel, like you said, cheated and betrayed. That all what we presented as Savannah Energy was entirely a Cameroonian affair. So if we present SNH the other way, then you realize that the person of the SNH, the DJ, the Director General of SNH, we know him. We know the PCA, the chairman of the board of directors of SNH, is equally a top-ranking officer in the government. And if all these people would have managed, in fact, we think, people said that even when such a tussle was going on, Chad sued Savannah Energy in France at the commercial court in arbitration in Paris, but then the case was awarded against Chad. So we are thinking that during the CEMAC summit, discussions again were held on this line, and that Cameroon should even levy an objection that the fact that I'm levied against Savannah are not true. So it has taken 1 month. Cameroon has not still tabled his objection to those statements, which means now technically that Chad is confirming that Savannah Energy is entirely or partly of some Cameroonian personalities and not even the government they were thinking, because the part of nationalization, because there was an interest to nationalize some of those shares in ExxonMobil, was leaving the company for Savannah. And if they were to nationalize, Chad should have his part of the cake from Chad to the borders with Cameroon. And when oil crosses the Cameroonian border, Chad should not have an interest again in. A lot of people were thinking that the oil that is transported from Chad has a Chadian interest from Chad right up to Kribi. But this is not the case. So it would mean that somewhere there is what they call the Chad Oil Transportation Company, which is TOTCO, and on the other side there is CODCO, which is also for Cameroon, which means that the moment Chad obligations, where it ends, that is where Cameroon own begins. And so Cameroon should simply respect its own part of the engagement, knowing that it is a bilateral engagement, and so both nations have an interest, and everybody's interest should be protected. If Chad is feeling cheated, it is but normal that the ambassador might have something to say. If not, we might expect deplorable situation. Remember, I'm not maybe saying a wizard, but then Chad somewhere control one of the highest group of rebels along the border between Cameroon and Nigeria, and if Cameroon and Chad, if care is not taken, we might be witnessing an increase in Boko Haram attacks in these two regions.
Okay, now we pray it doesn't come to that. Chad actually made this call on its television that is talking to the international community, and also says that there was a request that came from CEMAC, and that all other nations have responded to that request or inquiry, or I don't know how to describe
objection.
it. I don't know, since the document is in French, but from what I understood, almost everybody has answered to whether it was a query to explain how they were involved, and that it was only the state of Cameroon that has not yet responded to this query from CEMAC.
This lays credence to some schools of thought, which are, of course, unofficial, that say that Cameroon is now being governed not by the presidency of Cameroon. Because it is understood that General Muhammad came to Cameroon and discussed with the president of Cameroon. This is unofficial. And the president of Cameroon assured him that that is not going to happen and that is not what it is. And the president of Chad president went back satisfied that, of course, he had a tete-a-tete with his counterpart in Cameroon. But when he arrived back, it is the same thing and the same scenario that is repeating itself. And there are some official pieces of information that say that, I mean, he has tried to call back his counterpart in Cameroon in several occasions, and he's being given a response of unavailability of the president of Cameroon to talk to him. Of course, that now explains that later why some countries have responded and the president of Cameroon has not yet responded. We are doing an analysis. So, but I think we really have to, this is a very, very serious issue, and it touches also on the state of Cameroon because it comes to add to many other issues that we have in Cameroon. We have had issues of the COVID gate. That is now Savannah Gate has come and added to COVID Gate, to Kan Gate, to Glencoe Gate, to Lim 94, Sosansen, Sinkanset. It has added to all of these, and we have been waiting for the president of the Republic to say something, to come out and condemn and say that exactly this is what I think, and this is the decision. I mean, they keep on saying that it's in court and that he doesn't want to interfere with anything in court. But we are really waiting to hear when that court session is going to pronounce on these, whether it is going to be when we are all dead. So I think there is this inertia that we have, because you will not understand that a communique or actually an information comes out from the others, meaning that it has come from the other 4 states, excluding Chad, and it's only Cameroon. And Cameroon is the most concerned in the issue, and Cameroon is keeping quiet. I'm even beg to differ with the fact that the time space given was too short for Cameroon. I mean, it was enough time, because in diplomacy, before you actually come out to make a statement, because what the Minister of State, Secretary General of the Presidency of Chad has come out to do is what we call in diplomacy, like diplomacy du carrefour. Means that when negotiation has it ended, every negotiation has come to a standstill, and there is no understanding about it, you come out and you pronounce as he has done and say and talk to the world. This is what happened. And it will have had a response from Cameroon. Remember, just in a few weeks ago, when Chad expelled the German ambassador to Chad, what happened? Germany responded and also expelled the ambassador of Chad in Germany. I mean, these are things that happen inadvertently. You don't even need to. There is no school for that. So I think that if Cameroon has stayed mute up to this present moment, it means that they know something. And of course, let them say something.
Yes, but staying mute may be also an opportunity to better understand the way things are working, because this could be a dossier that was handled by some top personalities and not necessarily in the name of the government, though they might have used the name of SNH and a host of others. Maybe they at the highest level they are also looking into what is happening. But can we also envisage a situation where Cameroon calls back its ambassador to Chad?
Cameroon, you will imagine that Cameroon is not at the attack. I mean,
It's at a defensive.
It's a defensive point. It will be difficult for Cameroon to call back its own ambassador.
But Cameroon could also consider Chad of having also
nationalize ExxonMobil. Because
one of the things we need to know, what I'm saying here is, Cameroon is instead having more interest in this particular transaction than Chad might have been.
Yeah, but that is what you are saying. The Cameroon government may say that we are wrongly accused and exposed to. Yes,
Mr. Leonard, I know very well the functioning of the Cameroon system in Yaoundé.
Okay,
I'm telling you that where we are, the government of Cameroon knows very well that there's a more better interest in the transaction than Chad might have had. You even equally, what you are not aware is that the new president of Chad, he has become the #1. Somewhere, people are saying that the decision he has taken, he is not equally taking it in the name of the Republic of Chad, that he has his own personal interest and discontent about the general agreement, how it was carried out. You don't know the documents the father might have left him with, how indicates what percentage comes to the presidency of the Republic or him, the father. And now he's realizing that it is instead his percentage that is highly cheated. So somewhere, like all many Africans, the president of Chad in his own in person is feeling cheated And so in Cameroon, we cannot respond because we know what our sons and daughters are reaping from that transaction. About 5 or 6 names were cited, which are individuals, and just 10% is in the name of SNH officially, which is normal. SNH is a state management board in terms of petroleum products. And so if he has to be in such an agreement, somewhere too, you find a lot of those companies equally in Chad benefiting the same line. If Chad is mentioning this as a diplomatic problem, then there is an interest of individual, and that individual interest might not only fall on Cameroonians, as already indicated, because the Chadians might have carried out a lot of investigation and identified Cameroonians who are on the track records of that agreement. But we too, we have been unable to identify those who are on the other side of Chad who are equally benefiting from the same agreement.
Who may have facilitated.
Yes, that is what I'm saying, that in the same transaction, they are thinking that the son of Idris Deby, who just came to power, feel uncomfortable because his own personal interest has equally been mingled in the agreement that was made.
Because we are talking as if Cameroonians came and decided on what. If a deal has to be struck, it comes first from the Chadian side.
That is what I'm saying.
Yes.
That a lot of people in Chad.
Yes,
I said there is. The other write-up said there is a lot of interest in Chad, and so those personalities, one of whom is the president of the republic, is feeling cheated by the general agreement that Savannah Energy is taking over. The name presented as a foreign company is today being masked as all the network being composed of Cameroonians.
So we could be in a situation where the president of the Republic in Cameroon is actually not aware of what is happening, and then the president of Chad is also not aware, and then there is a cabal between Chad and Cameroon.
That is a possibility, and that explains the action that has been taken. You know that Chad has not expelled the Cameroon ambassador in Chad, meaning that what? It's not really a serious diplomatic issue. Chad, maybe the investigation may start with the Chadian ambassador to Cameroon, and that is why they are calling him
for consultation.
Because he may have a high hand in that, because most of these deals, you know, he represents the country in Cameroon, and most of these things must have passed through his hand or through his negotiation, and therefore Chad has called him back to see clear, to know whether he was actually aware of all of these things. If he wasn't aware, then they may go further in other diplomatic discussion. And if there is a deadlock, that is now where it becomes more dangerous, where they will say, okay, if Cameroon is really implicated in this thing, it may become a diplomatic row. And that is where Cameroon ambassador in Chad may actually be expelled. And that is possible. It may eventually happen. So I think we really need to look at this thing with a double eye lens, because it is something that has more than the eye sees. And until the investigation, we want to see what is going to happen in the coming days, because once the ambassador is back in Chad, we want to see the reaction from the Cameroon side, whether they are going to make a statement or not. And if they don't make a statement, what next is Chad going to do? Are they going to come back to that renegotiation with the partners of the Chad Cameroon?
Is this a clear scenario? Yes. Is this a clear scenario of persons who are working for their personal interest? Yes, beyond what the state is supposed to get, and has been discovered by the current president, or maybe some of these guys were exposed to the president, and then he wants to fry them to the international community.
Yeah, at the level of Cameroon, it would be doubtful to see that that particular group of persons were not known by the government. The names cited in the official communique indicted people at the central government of the state. On the other side of Chad, it might equally be a diplomatic secret that they know those Chadians that are responsible,
but they want
to cover up, to behave as if only Cameroonians were involved in the agreement. One of the things which Cameroon has to see here now, which I don't know to the level which my own government is, it was equally possible for Cameroon to call back his own ambassador for questioning, to see the temperature of what is happening in Jamena and the opinion, the common man in Chad, what are they saying about the same contract that Savannah Energy took over from ExxonMobil. And a lot of it, if the government of Cameroon is not reacting,
they are not guilty.
If the government, no, it's not a matter of guilt. It's not a matter of guilt. It's purposes of information. If Chad is informing us of a consultation, Cameroon too has a right to consult his own embassy right there. Remember, at the level of the embassy, a lot of people don't know. All what we have in the government back in the country is found in the embassy, including secret services, which means Cameroon can tap any information quietly and records from chat and the discussions which have been going on or small meetings that the Cameroon government is not informed officially. So if this is done, Cameroon just have, as a response to the diplomatic conflict, Cameroon has a duty to respond in the same line by calling its own ambassador. But if really we don't call, I simply will conclude that the silence which is being used by Cameroon as a governance issue in the diplomacy maybe is equally one of the strategies. So they need not move like a baby. They will tell you that they don't move like baby, or nobody will cause the head of state to do what he does not want to, even when it is necessary. And then only time will tell. That is how the Cameroon government has been functioning.
Okay. Now, let's look at the free circulation of goods and persons within CEMAC. Does it tell of a sub-region where people have confidence in others, or it is a grouping of persons living, of nations living within just with few suspicions for one another?
I think this will further fragilize what we commonly call the project for the United States of Africa. And of course, I've always said this. You see, one of the things that have hindered the progress to this is that issue of free circulation. You know, people, you look at the European Union, you leave maybe Spain, you get over to, to Germany, and nobody asks you any question. But you will live here and you're going to your next neighbor, Chad, and we call them brothers, and you have to go stay in embassy for 5 hours because you want a visa. So, these issues like this would further fragilize what we are trying to build. Because at the first point, we were thinking that it was an issue, language too was a blockage to that issue of United States for Africa. But now, circulation, doing business, is also a very, very big issue. You find countries going and signing free trade collaboration with countries in Europe, with the European Union, whatsoever, with France. But their next neighbor, they cannot trade freely. We have people, Cameroonians, who are being expelled from countries, their neighboring countries, of course. And these are countries where you can go by car. You know, we supply them food by car. Usually, we say Cameroon is the breadbasket of Central African states. The breadbasket. And how does this bread get to these places? It's an exchange. So when we have issues like this that are already bringing in other issues that we didn't even envisage, then we will begin to think that even that issue of talking about, because I have usually said that we cannot have a United States of Africa if these blocks are not united. Because first of all, we need to have the Central Africa, the CEMAC countries that are actually united, who are able to trade themselves, who are able to interact among themselves, have a free passport that you can able to get to any other country. Let it be like an identity card that you show at the border and you pass. But then people are trading in goods, food. You should be able to have a pass and get to these countries and supply food and come back without any issue. But we have not been able to reach these things that are basic to the people of that community. Basic goods, basic community, we are not able to exchange among ourselves. Do you think that it is at this high level of diplomacy that we are able to understand, especially near that we are having the interests of individuals at stake? And it brings to bear what we are talking about, selfish interest, la politique de banque, which of course I have always, Francois Bayard, who has talked much about this in Africa. So we really need to be able to break through this barrier of you want to be the person that has the greatest share. And we have looked at this. We thought that, with the cultures and whatsoever, that people want power in terms of culture and whatsoever, they want to guard power in their delivery. But then, in terms of transnational trade, international trade, and here even sometimes I call Chad overseas. I see overseas, not abroad, because they are abroad. They are just here, and then you could cross and go. The other day I was at the airport and somebody was traveling abroad, and at the airport the person went to Nigeria to take a visa, and at the airport they are saying, you have to show proof that how you went to Nigeria. How did you go to Nigeria without a visa? I caught fright. I said, but Have we come to this level? Don't they know that you can go through a coke to Nigeria? Don't they know that you can go through and get to the water to Nigeria? So you now see at the level where we are now that we still have a long way to go in terms of trade.
Now, this methods of coming on national TV to tell the world that there is friction in relationship between Chad and Cameroon, was it the best? Or was it not also because the president of Chad left Cameroon some weeks back? Was it not also better for him to come back to see his father and possibly talk things out?
Yeah, it's not like seeing the father. You know, with President Paul Biya being in power for over 42 years, he controlled the CEMAC, not only controlling Cameroonians. He equally became what we call the chief of all the wishes and witchcraft when it comes to power. And so a lot of them, you see, Ali Bongo Ondimba came to Cameroon and greeted when he gained power in Gabon. Likewise, Idriss Deby had this opportunity too. You know, they are military guys, they don't move out anyhow. They know how it took them to gain power. In just the slightest 30 minutes out of the capital, that presidency might be taken away from you. The guy was so careful to have used the CEMAC summit in order to hit other targets that he was supposed to make. Somewhere, like we said at the beginning, the young guy felt the belittled issues concerning state 1 month after Cameroon has not responded. It means that Cameroon needed him to get to the next phase. The next phase was a pressurized system. Let me just call off the ambassador and see the reaction of Cameroon. Just imagine, we are talking about it here. Nobody knew there was a diplomatic prowl between Cameroon and Chad, but just the calling of the ambassador is an indication. Now that the World Bank arbitration in Paris passed judgment against Chad, and again the case was presented at the CEMAC summit, Cameroon was asked to give a diplomatic clarification on the contract that has happened that Savannah Energy took over. Cameroon has not given. I believe now a lot of international institutions do not need Chad again to present their worries. They are simply going to add nerves. Work on the fact that Cameroon might have treated Chad, and if possible, reparation will be made, or they have to resolve it. But some quarters have said Chad and many other authorities in the Chadian government simply want their own share to be guaranteed. And if that is done, then it was just like a small crisis which can be settled in few days ahead.
Okay. So it is more of
yeah, that is what I'm saying. They are going to have it's going to be a diplomatic arrangement in between those who felt cheated. Like the name of the president of Chad is in that particular communique. If his own share will be given, that is how African function. Sometime last week or so, we were talking here about father to son transfer and the heritage they have, how to protect it. Others are afraid that the interest the father left is not what he's seen in the cupboard, and so has to call on Cameroon. That was happening to my own part of the share in this agreement, and that's why he has come in now to pass it to another level.
Can we see in this outing also a reminder by Chad to Cameroon that we are not as small as you think? You may have considered us as the underdogs of CEMAC, but please don't overstep.
That we are a sovereign country. That despite the fact that we have a young president, please, it doesn't mean that you just have to trample on us. To feel that we lack a daily bread, and that be it young, he is still the president of Chad, and therefore another country, and therefore he has to roar like a lion for the world to know that he is utterly in control. Maybe that he has not, since he took power, he has not made an international roar as he made this time around, and it has gone worldwide, and they know that he is in control in Chad. He has called back his ambassador. He is in control, and that Cameroon has to understand it well. And of course, we were talking here about Cameroon calling back his ambassador. I don't really think at this particular point Cameroon has to call back his ambassador. Cameroon has to stay put because they are at the defensive. Let him stay put and listen to what is going to happen next. And what I envisage is going to happen is that there will be scapegoats. Like in Cameroon, there will be scapegoats, because this is the way that they do in order to cover up issues. They will just kind of say, communicate or indict some few individuals and say they are the ones who mismanaged the collaboration whatsoever that was going on with it. And you see, the issue will just end there. As you say, the Chad wants to stand up tall and gain what his own share of the cake or from that petrol money, knowing that petrol too is black kind of money, and money that even doesn't go for money that is meant for individuals. So I think Mahatma General is standing up and is asking President Pobia to recognize him, because what they explained that somebody is here a few weeks ago sat with the president of the republic. It was official. This was not more unofficial. He sat with the president of Cameroon, and sure, this decision coming today means that a few weeks ago this issue was already boiling. And of course, one will not say that he didn't discuss that with the president of the republic and then went back and sent a comment. No way. It's a sign that he discussed with the president of the republic, and when he came back, he didn't see the result of what is happening, and therefore he has to pronounce.
Yeah, but can we also see this as a political move to gain political points in Chad, to say that I'm the command of things and I'm ready to defend the nation, even against those who consider themselves as the big fishes amongst the CIMAC as well?
Not really to gain points in Chad. Yes, somewhere there's a character of legitimacy. The young president is trying to legitimize himself before his people. And if an agreement that was made with the father, and the father had no problem about it, and today he is coming up to tell you that this was not in the interest of Chad, and I have that. First, his people are going to at least give him a point. Secondly, it went again to inform the international community that Chad too can make some points at the level of Africa, and one not well, and that the level at which he is, nobody should think they can trample on their toes. And if you don't take care, they might control. Remember, when the father was active, there was a tussle between Chad and the United States on the management of the Boko Haram crisis. That's because the father had already positioned himself within the CIMAC region when it comes to securities and the military. Chad has one of the strongest military in the region, and that could not be ignored. Now that the son is the one there, and people are pushing forward that he should organize election, he equally informing Chadian that there are a lot of other issues which are of priority rather than organizing elections. We are going to fight for Chadian interests, and that Chad belongs only to Chadians. Remember, the issue of him releasing over 285 rebels gained him some political trust on those whom they thought yesterday that they might going to get rotten in prison are now finding liberty. And though others are still criticizing that other top leaders of the same rebel groups are still held behind bars and still pleading that should still use the presidential wisdom or largesse to come out freely and free them. You cannot be talking peace when such top-ranking people within the rebels are being held behind bars. Now Cameroon will equally know that the young man you call Muhammad Idris Deby might not take things lightly. Imagine giving calls at the corridors of Yaoundé several times and have been unable to speak to the President of the Republic. If that call or one of those calls went through, we wouldn't have been at this level. I know very well what happened between Dangote and even the government of Cameroon while still at the presidency. We need a call from a very good luck Jonathan to tell the President of the Republic that that son is one of the mightiest. And if you need economic power, you need him. Before Aliko Dangote was received at the presidency, maybe since there was nobody on the part of Chad to tell him that the young man seemed to be very big in his mind, so please receive that call, they would have given him the call. And it can equally be in the same light that those who have an interest in the petrol in Chad were thinking that let's see how they will get to the president. And since they could not equally get to the president,
they might have informed their guys this
good
to make sure that this call does
not go through. And so now, since they have become so frustrated, they have a right now to take what they could do by calling home the ambassador. It would have again been worse to call home the ambassador and ask Cameroonian ambassador to leave. You can imagine what we would have been talking here. Double issues on both ways. There are a lot of economic interests which Chad believes it too has in Cameroon. They don't want to get to this level. Cameroonians should be moving freely to Chad and Chadian to Cameroon. But for now, they need the ambassador for consultation. After this incident, there is going to be an aspect of respect for the new president. And the guy will feel seated, and Cameroon too will learn to respect. Because this very noise we are making here is surely being equally passed out in some radios and TV stations in Chad.
Yes, but now, are we going to see a lot of revelations are made in the shady deals? Are persons going to be exposed? Because we are saying that there are persons in certain corridors in Cameroon who are involved in this, and this may have been going on for long now.
Of course, there are people, and high-ranking people too. But and as I said, there will be scapegoats. There will be scapegoats because some people at some position are untouchable. and they are going to use other people as scapegoats. Now, secondly, before calling the ambassador back to Chad, there was another way to do it. That ambassador will have asked for audience and talk with the President of the Republic. But as far as I know, since General Mahatma Debi left Cameroon, the Chadian ambassador has not spoken with the President of the Republic. I mean, of course, face to face. Because if they spoke, I'm sure something was, and I'm sure that not only calls were blocked, but also that audience was blocked. And a lot of revelations are going to be made. And going back to Chad, Chad is a poor country. That is a fact, and that there are a lot of people who live less than 500 francs a day in some villages is really poverty. And like Dr. Ako said, there's that issue of legitimacy, which the general wants to instill, to let the people know that okay, he can also be that conquistador, that savior that has come to save them, even though he came through an orthodox means. There is a way in which we will make the people love him. There is what we call a benevolent dictator. A benevolent dictator, and that is what Gaddafi was. Gaddafi was a dictator, but was a benevolent dictator. We cannot classify him with other bad dictators we have in Africa, because there in Libya you had free healthcare, education, and all of those. And I'm sure that this is exactly what General Mahatma wants to do. That he has come up and wants to be a benevolent dictator, and that the people are poor, and this is a source of income that has never come. Oh, that is not coming. Why not get to that and let that source of income come, so that he has released prisoners, about 200 and something of them? How is he going to take care of them? I mean, there are a lot of healthcare, education, and all of those. How is he going to take care of them? There are some countries whereby petrol money is being accounted for. It's not like Cameroon, where we don't hear petrol money being accounted for. Perhaps he wants to show the people that the money that we get from this pipeline, which of course was celebrated. The year 2000, I was in Kribi when this Chad Cameroon pipeline was being inaugurated. He wants to let the people know that they are still having entitlement. They have right to enjoy the money that is coming from them. And therefore, the best way to do that is to act as he has acted. And he's a general, he's a military. I mean, he is like a Republican. He's not a Democrat who goes slowly with negotiation. He's a Republican who strikes. When he says 5 minutes, he starts counting. It's 4 minutes remaining, 3 minutes remaining, 2 minutes, and 1 minute he strikes. That is what happens with general military rule. And therefore, I think if he goes by that, the people are going to benefit.
The people are going to benefit. How should this problem be solved, Dr. Ako?
I believe somewhere there's going to be an international or maybe a bilateral commission, first for investigation. For us to resolve a diplomatic crisis of this nature, there is a need for investigation, and if we need an investigation that is honest, that investigation need to be out of Cameroon and Chadian control. But now that I'm telling you, even the World Bank will tell you that they have been that proud. There have been this crisis before now, and since the Chadian government sued ExxonMobil at the World Bank Arbitration Commission in Paris, that particular decision, there was going to be more fever. And today, Cameroon need to resolve it. We need to benefit from the economic movement between Chad and Cameroon, and nothing should affect that. Cameroon will be the loser if anything happens in future. Today, Chad will tell you that he has a lot of more friends around the sub-region, even though he is one of the landlocked countries without access to the seaport, and that the Douala port become very important. Cameroon to need it in terms of taxes. We need an investigation properly. First, an official statement from the government of Cameroon, which means that the communication minister of Cameroon should equally be on its knees. And at this time, Le Jeune Bella Bella, the minister of external relations, why not, even through a telephone call, should even get access to information from Jamena and how the Chadian people think or feel about the agreement, and that if not a matter of betrayal, Cameroon should be sincerely sorry for what might have happened. And if Muhammad Idris Deby Itno had carried on steps to even talk to the Cameroonian government, and several times they said the head of state is not available, it's really belittling, and meaning we consider the young president as equally small in his age. It was again downgrading that we could equally send by the son of the president of Cameroon to talk with him in Jamena. I don't know on which capacity or in which capacity he was doing so. This is a diplomatic crisis and demand the use of diplomatic channel. The Minister of External Relations should be involved. The Communication Minister of Cameroon should be involved. Those that site has been cited, I mean, the energy sector, COTCO, should equally be informed and maybe make an official statement for their own part of what they know about the Savannah Agreement and the cessation of ExxonMobil. A lot of actors are involved, meaning even the companies that are involved has a statement to make to maybe decry or support the Chadian position if the information is coming from them. And it will be sad if Cameroon doesn't take amicable steps to solve this. I'm telling you that Chad is one of those countries that can destabilize Cameroon in the northern part of the country.
Okay, yes. What are the steps that needs to be taken from our side, talking about the Cameroonian government, to bring down the tension?
I think we have to understand that the severance of diplomatic relations between Chad and Cameroon can harm the stability between these two countries. And we have to keep that in mind. And secondly, I want to implicate the CEMAC zone. If they have not intervened within the countries, within the internal crisis of countries within the CEMAC zone, let them intervene between two countries that are worrying. And therefore, let the accord that they have signed so far be a uniting force. They have signed accord on electricity, on optic fiber, on the railway. I mean, I think that there are a lot of things that unite these two countries that can divide them. If they actually, Cameroon should think about the people, their own people. They should not think about just that money that comes from petrol. They should think about what unites them more, and it is that trade, that economy that has been booming between the two countries. And I think that if they put that into consideration, I mean, peace will reign.
Yeah, but can CEMAC member states call out Cameroon to hit to what Chad is complaining about? Is it possible to see Denis Sassou Nguesso called on President Paul Biya to look into it? Is it possible to have Ali Bongo call on the President of the Republic, or Teodoro Obiangema?
Yeah, as members of the CEMAC region, for now, they will tell you that the CEMAC region enjoy, at least to some level, quiet peace, and seeing a conflict already between two countries coming over as a preventive step, or do we always say in English that prevention is better than cure? It is possible, but then I don't see Teodoro Obiangema doing that. Remember, people have learned a lot from this principle of sovereignty. Chad is saying that he's reacting to protect the interests of the people. And if Obasanjo, who has been almost on a limelight of being kicked out, Cameroon assisted them, I don't see how this time around, my brother, ex-former prime minister, used to say politics is that you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Remember, the rebel movement that was ousted in south of Cameroon was meant for Equatorial Guinea, and a host of that. Denis Sassou Nguesso is one of those people we have never heard him speak about Africa. Cameroon has even been talking to some extent. One of the things which I want us to understand here, Leonard, is that it's giving us an idea of how the petroleum domain is managed in Cameroon, and which means even internally, what we call Sonara petrol is not for Cameroonians. The case presently with Chad can even ignite Cameroonians to ask the government, who are those managing? We have the director of SNH that has been there. I can't imagine the last time he was appointed, and to what extent he has been working so extremely well that people find it very comfortable to send him out or replace another person. Somewhere, Cameroonians have been saying that within the finance bill of Cameroon, the oil products or revenue are not discussed between the parliamentarians. It is discussed at the presidential palace, and only the top officials responsible for the management of petrol knows who gains what and what goes where. Which means, if a contract like that of Savannah comes out, which Chad was thinking belongs to the white, and that today is owned by Cameroonians, are you sure Sonara belong to Cameroonians? There is a lot of fear. Are the interest or gains made in Sonara declared to the national budget of Cameroon? Cameroon too can set, if Cameroon was that country independent, why not a fact-finding mission to bring an inquiry commission to get us access on both sides? If really the Savannah claim might be likened to be of the Sonara domain, why not the SNH? They can give us details. There are a lot of companies in Cameroon what they call sovereign revenue. Sovereign revenue, we don't know what becomes, but they have money which is even more than government government budget. And so there are times they're the one that even come and assist the government in paying some workers or paying some government debts. We don't know to what extent. Companies equally like the CNPS, the money there, who controls what and where it is settled. It is an indication and maybe a new beginning if Cameroon was getting serious to investigate how oil revenue is managed and who are the actors that manages the sector in Cameroon.
Yes, but do you see other heads of states within the CEMAC sub-region calling Cameroon to order?
They will not call Cameroon to order because, you know, when you are on sun, you are very careful on how you walk. So I think what they could only do is perhaps they will wait for a CEMAC meeting sometime and read their speeches as they usually do. I don't see anybody calling the president of Cameroon to say, hey, we have learned about this, what has happened. Because, and of course, it was not even the Chadian president that was supposed to be at this point, knowing that he had even written to all the president of the CEMAC, as he stated in his letter. Means that it was now an affair of the CEMAC to sort out this bilateral issue between Chad and Cameroon. That's what it was supposed to be. And if they didn't act, you think that it is now that there's a rift, that is a serious one that they are going to rift. I think in CEMAC, no, who like in St. Peter, who well, all of them are in the same soup. I mean, you not leave your own fight that you're fighting because you come to, I mean, you don't cry more than a bereaved. And that is how they look at it in a CEMAC zone, knowing that the president of Cameroon too is a doyen. I mean, most of them respect him, and they think that if they have to live and rule like him for a long time like him, they also have to behave like him. So they are like students to the president of Cameroon. So I don't see any of them calling the president of Cameroon. And as we said, I think that this is actually going to be an eye-opener into how many of things are being done in Cameroon. We even talk about how oil is being even exploited in Cameroon. We have companies in Cameroon, so many of them, that only some particular people know those companies. They tell you that they have 6 oil wells, but they go and they get 8 oil wells. And the 2 extra are for individual uses. And it is like a sham, you know. It is like nobody is an uncontrollable kind of a sector, and this is a sector which has a lot of money. I think that it's time that this may breed another thing, that there should be an accountability, because this will end by somebody coming out to say who exactly won the Savannah Energy and how exactly was he using the money was coming from Savannah Energy. If they don't explain this to us at the end of the day, I think that, as I said, it is another Savannah gate that is adding to other gates that we are going to have an explanation of them before long and before time. We are going to know exactly where all of this and all of this money is going to. And I think that Cameroonians, they deserve the better, because we have the riches, the natural riches, and they deserve to know exactly how these riches are being spent. Look at how people are suffering in Cameroon. No food, transportation, oil is very, very, very expensive, and you find people, individuals who are handling these things, and we do not know where the money is going to. Where are they banking this money? Where are they keeping this money? In their houses? I mean, and they are rejoicing, they are happy that Cameroonians are going on, suffering the way they are suffering, and few individuals are enjoying. I think that if really this God that we call is not a good God, then a lot of issues, punishment is going to be for a lot of people.
Okay, we are now going to be looking at a second segment for our program today. We started late. Doctor, this is a weekend. Are we going out?
You know, in fact, you have given me an opportunity to tell people, the world, that I'm mourning my wife for the 2nd year.
Okay.
And I said that the church, it will start with a church mass on Sunday at the St. Simon Parish in Peka with Douala. So anybody that wish to communion with me for this 2nd anniversary of the passing to glory of my wife can equally assist. And that notwithstanding, as usual, Cameroonians, we have been meeting. It depends on where you want me to be waiting, because your program might continue sooner. And with Dr. Antimacho, you have the better places around town. So that notwithstanding.
Yes, Doctor.
And
this is Vandediswa.
Of course, and you just did like a real Cameroonian. When he wants to offer, he asks you first. So we have understood the language. We'll go to the usual spot and wait for you. So happy Bakr Asala to all Muslim Cameroonians and Muslims in the world. May you enjoy your day, and we hope that peace may reign, and we live as brothers, and let's be transnational, transinternational, internal trade, and we should trade and trade honestly.
Okay, we are going to be taking a short break to continue right after. watching Prime on My Media Prime. This time around, we are going to be discovering the academy that we have so much heard about for so many months, so many months. And now we're talking about the African Academy of Digital Marketing. Their officials have been talking about African Academy of Digital Marketing for so long now. Today we're going to be looking at the academy itself, telling us where the idea even came about and what the academy offers and how much it has been able to assist and mold Cameroonians, and how those who have passed through that school are doing in Cameroon. So far, we are in the company of Henry Ewane, who is a co-founder and trainer and author of the African Academy of Digital Marketing. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. It's always an honor to be here, and Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brothers. As we are praying that the Almighty God favors all those who have been fasting throughout the last 40 days.
We also in the company of Neighbor Paul, who is a co-founder, trainer and a digital marketer. He is here with us as usual. We are glad to have you.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Hello, televiewers. It's another Friday, and we're here to talk digital marketing. And pull back your seats and be ready to send in your questions. For we are going to break down what this institution is all about, as Mr. Leo has rightly said.
Yes. Let me get straight to you, Mr. Henry Ewane. Where is this school coming from? It was conceived where? In Europe, or while you were schooling somewhere?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, Mr. Leo. When we talk about digital marketing, it's important to go back to the history. Back in the 17th century, we had what we call the Agrarian Revolution. And all those people got very rich during that period, where those who invested into agriculture. Then we moved to the 18th and early 19th century, where we had the Industrial Revolution. And all those who invested into factories became very rich at that moment. Then later on, in the 19th century, we moved to what we call the Scientific Revolution, where we had people like Isaac Newton, where you have Einstein, where you have these great innovators. Now, after that, we moved to the 21st century, where we had what we called the Internet Revolution, or what Nicky Vaught called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, also known as the Digital Revolution. Now, in the previous revolutions, Africa was left out, back behind in all these revolutions. Now, in my mind, I was like, okay, the Internet Revolution is here, and it's our generation. We can't allow Africa to remain behind again. This is where the idea of coming up with an institution that is going to empower young Africans with digital marketing skills came up. Then last year, as I was planning to organize the first ever Africa Digital Marketing Summit in Cameroon, I came across my brother, Mr. Neighbor Paul here. You know, Mr. Paul is a very, very powerful and good promoter. I've seen him promoting programs like the Bambuza, the movie premiere. I saw him promoting Tex Global, and a lot of businesses and events that Mr. Neighbor Paul has promoted. So, like any other event, I chose him to promote the African Digital Marketing Summit, and the guy delivered with class and excellence. Actually, when it comes to promoting events and programs, he is the best. Yeah, so I got to him and I said, bro, this is something we can work together. Let's come together and build something very solid for the future generations. This is how the idea of coming up with the African Academy of Digital Marketing came up. And today we have been working and we have been training and empowering people with these powerful skills. Mr. Leo.
Okay. Now, I'll just go. This institution has been existing for how long now?
Actually, the institution has been existing officially for 1 year now, because it was created in July 30th, 2022. But before that, we have all been doing trainings. Before, I had a program called Hope, a program for entrepreneurs. And Mr. Paul here also had his own programs where we were empowering young Africans with digital marketing skills. So, Mr. Leo, to come back to your question, officially, the African Academy of Digital Marketing was created in July 2022. And between July till date, we have trained more than 500 people already in different batches, being online and offline as well.
Okay. Who is the Digital Academy targeting?
Well, Mr. Leo, we are targeting young graduates who are finding themselves in the working world. We are targeting professionals who want to upgrade. We are also targeting business persons who want to position their businesses online. You know, when every revolution is coming with challenges, and people are struggling to see how they can fit themselves in this particular position. And so far, we have been working with these particular people. Several young people who graduated and are struggling in the working world have been able to gain these skills and live on to working and earning, or even becoming freelancers where they manage social media handles for other people and they make money. We've also had to train a couple of companies right here in Douala and out of Douala to put themselves out there on the digital space, and also several professionals who want to upgrade themselves, several professionals who want to get a side income. We have as well promoted or trained them, and they are doing excellent in that domain.
Okay, they're doing great in the domain. So your target are young Cameroonians,
yes,
who just graduated to come and acquire knowledge and skills. But is it limited to these young persons, the elderly, even those who have not been to school, formal education? Can't they benefit from your services?
That's what I said. That's what I said. I said graduates, professionals, and institutions. People who are of age, who are running their businesses, actually need our services to train them and train their workers to be able to manage their businesses online. Last week when we were here, one mother of 72 years contacted us from Yaoundé, who is producing, I think, detergents and balms and stuff. She is so willing to learn how to do these things, which is something that, as far as you have access to a mobile phone or a laptop and you are connected to the internet, you should be able to leverage on the opportunities that the digitalization is offering, because it's all about being able to track record those people that you come in contact with on a daily basis and channel your products to them so that they turn your customers and you maintain them consuming your products on a daily basis.
So every Cameroonian is qualified,
yes,
to benefit from your trainings, but some persons will also want to know how intensive the programs are and the duration for training.
Yes, Mr. Leo, like I think last week one of our trainers sent a message here that never Paul will not leave me rest if I don't submit my assignment or I don't attend the classes. The program is very intensive and it's online. Principally, those some people do it offline in our office here in Bonaberi, and we get very good professionals who come and train on this program. Just like we said the other time, Mr. Ewane and I, we are just handling maximum 2 courses, though we have 17 plus courses in this academy. We get professionals like Dr. Efa, who is a lecturer in SWA, University of Yaoundé too. We have Daily Marshall, who's handling some other courses. We have Harebate, who is handling ChatGPT and all of that. So it's something that we get people who are actually practicing what they do to come and teach. And this course lasts for 3 months, and at the end you do internship. Like now that we are planning to launch the 4th batch at the end of this month, those who are in the 3rd batch are already doing internship now. We are following them up to make sure that they actually practice what they learn, because the issue with computer skills is that when you learn them and you don't practicalize them, you forget them so soon.
Now, persons would want to know what guarantees are there for jobs when they come to enroll and study. We have so many students who are graduating across the nation today from different schools. At the time they listen to someone talk about the school, they are given the impression that once they are done, the job opportunities are there, and some parents may and students may be listening to you talk about the African Digital Academy, and maybe wondering whether the opportunities do exist out there upon going through the course.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, the good news with the African Academy of Digital Marketing is that once we train you, we are giving you practical skills, the practical know-how, so that at the end of the day, if you were really serious, because one thing is to register to the program, and one thing is to be serious and intentional with your life. Like, okay, I really mean it, like learning the skill. Now, once you are among the best, the good news is that I don't leave the best to go. We want to hire them, and they start working with us in our partner. Now, we also have partners. We also partner with companies. As a digital marketing institution, we have a digital marketing agency as well, and our main target is business organizations. So most often when we train the staff, we train the personals, they want to come to us and say, okay, now we need a digital marketer. Please, can you help us get one? And we always want to make sure we recommend the best to these our partners.
Okay, so you do a lot of recommendation, but are you also teaching them on the need to volunteer? That is, you have acquired skills, you have acquired knowledge, and you want to stand out. Maybe you graduate and necessarily do not get employed, but the fact that you volunteer your services only to show to a company why it is very imperative to have someone like you. Is that what you're also teaching them? Yeah,
actually, when we finish training, the first thing we usually advise our students is to volunteer. Because once you have gotten the skill, if no one knows you or no one has seen what you have done before, it will be difficult for you to land a contract or to land a job. Most often, even me, when I want to hire digital marketers or community managers, I'll ask them, please, can you send me links of pages you have handled before or that you are currently handling? If you send me the link, I'll now go through the page to see what really we can do before I hire you. Now, if you have never volunteered, you will have no platform to show to people who want to hire you or to your potential clients. So that's why it's very, very important for someone who just acquired a skill to work for free in the beginning. It's like an investment that we are doing. It's a human investment. Because at the end of the day, you can ask those people you have worked for free to recommend you. And since you work with them for free, they'll easily do that. So I will strongly advise people who are learning this innovative and transformative digital marketing skills to volunteer in the beginning. Okay,
we are talking today about the African Academy of Digital Marketing. When a business actually walks up to you guys that we want you to handle our online presence, what is the process that you guys walk them through?
Well, the first process is that we have a questionnaire that we give them so we can be able to know exactly what they want, because it's not all about hiring somebody to handle your online audience, but you need to have an objective that you want to attain. Through the questionnaire, when they answer the questionnaire, that's where we can be able to know exactly the results that are required, and then we can put on a proposal. Now, when we have an agreement, we now position somebody who is qualified to be able to handle their online audience vis-a-vis the target or the objective that we realize through that questionnaire. And obviously, from time to time, we come back to see if actually we are actually living up to the standards of what we agreed at the beginning, because there are so many people online who are doing a lot of things. You can be there and you're creating content for whatever reason, but if the company, for example, wanted to grow their social media for that time, for example, and at that particular time when you were they're starting to handle their social media presence, they had just 100 people following them, and you are there for 1 month and they are still having maybe 110, it becomes questioning. The issue about digital, or the good thing about digitalization, is that it's very easy to trace performance. If you're actually performing, they'll actually see from the results that you are, whether you're performing or not. And if they are coming also for the fact that they want to get people to buy their products, I mean, there's traceability where people have to click maybe from a post to follow a link to their WhatsApp and then follow up, and you convert them to buyers at the end of the day. If at the end of the day we evaluate and buying is actually taking place, then we are being effective. If they are not actually increasing their sales after we're working with them, then there's a problem. So that's how it goes from, you know, contacting us to we handling the job and evaluating. In
handling the job, what do you do when you handle the job?
When I say handling the job, it's all about you, because maintaining a company's online presence is all about making sure that you build a strong audience that recognizes the company, and you make sure that they build a bond, because like Mr. Owner always say, a digital marketer or a community manager for a company is like the brand ambassador of that business. You help that audience to be an online audience that builds a bond with the company, so much so that you can easily transform them to consumers, and you do that through constant creation of content. When we talk of content here, we are referring to text that you frequently write. We're talking about maybe images, photos, it can be infography, what we call graphic designs, or it can be videos that you use in learning these people from time to time to keep them glued to this particular company. So that's what we actually do.
So you only work with companies? Individuals, you don't work with them?
We work with individuals, Mr. Leo.
Okay.
Let me say, somebody like you is sitting here, you can't be handling this program right away, and it's possible for you to be handling your online presence. Mind you, there are people who are following you now, and maybe who are sending questions maybe on your Facebook, because this program is being streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. You know, it needs somebody who understands to be there at this particular time to make sure that they're answering now, so that if people have to take decisions, they take them now. Because if you have to handle this program and then you go back to reply them later, maybe that instinct of buying that they had that time would have gone, or maybe they would have used that money for something else and they end up not buying. So every individual professionals, alerts who have their social media handles, usually they are not the one handling them. That's why I always say, when you see a page online, don't go talk to the person thinking that you are talking directly to the person. You might be talking to the person's community manager. I witnessed that a lot. That's somebody who come and be talking to me that maybe I'm handling a lady's page, thinking that he or she is talking, he's talking directly to that lady, not knowing that you are talking to a fellow man who is handling that. So when you see a page online, a page, not a profile.
What usually, do they write to the lady? Chatting the lady?
No, or? don't go talking to that person, because on most cases, those who are there are not the people themselves.
Okay. Is there an accountability process for the content creator that you guys assign?
Sure. One thing, as Mr. Nebapo rightly said some few minutes ago, the good thing with digital marketing is that it's easy to trace the results. Okay. We have what we call in digital marketing KPI, key performance indicators. We know exactly, we define the key performance indicators of the client, and we have a content calendar that we also give to the client, so that the client can trace exactly, are this guy really delivering? Are they fulfilling what they promised? So the client can evaluate from his end or her end, and we also on our end we evaluate exactly what is happening. So there's traceability, and it's easy to measure the performance of the work that is being done.
So by the time you sign a contract, you agree that this is where we are. The next, you give timeline.
Yes,
sure.
Performance. Yes, Mr. Leo. It's just like a company comes to you as a TV channel to promote a particular product, and they give you a spot, for example, and you give them a calendar that we are going to broadcast this spot, 3 times a day, 5 times a day. That company goes and sit on their own, and they are watching the TV, and they are expecting My Media Prime to broadcast this product. And My Media Prime obviously has promised them that we have an audience, a very vibrant audience, that if you broadcast this your product through our channels, you are going to make sales. First, they are watching to see if you are actually going to broadcast the spot at that particular time. And the next indicator is, are we actually having new customers? Are our sales increasing? So it's same with digital marketing.
Okay. Are you available for the diaspora, or are you global, or you're just here in Cameroon?
Sure. We are available for the diaspora. See, Mr. Leo, before I answer that question straight, I want to remind us that we are in the era of the attention, and everybody, being diaspora or non-diaspora, we all need this attention. We are in the era of the attention economy. When I talk about digital marketing, think of Jeff Bezos of Amazon.com. Think of Jack Ma of Alibaba.com. Think of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook or Elon Musk of Twitter. These are people that are billionaires already. Why? Because they were able to gather the attention on the internet. So it doesn't matter whether you are at the diaspora or you are in Cameroon. So far as you want to be relevant in the 21st century and make money and become billionaires like these people I just named, you must be on the internet. We are in the era of the internet.
I want to be practical. I received a man of God here once, and he was preaching about miracles. And he wanted to play some stuff. I told him that no, I want you to perform the miracle. You pray, and I want to receive the testimonies. He actually prayed, and I received testimonies, and I was reading them out like what happens in churches. So what I want us to do here is I want the academy to provide me with a community manager.
Okay.
I'm saying it because sincerely, after 1 month, if this guy is fake, I will say it here.
Sure.
I want a community manager.
Okay, Mr. Leo.
Yes.
So when are we signing the contract?
I know my worth on social media.
Yeah.
Yes, but I want somebody who can help me. So I am saying that I'll recruit somebody, community manager from a product from your school.
Thank you.
I'm expecting him here on Monday.
Okay.
Him or her on Monday here. So that if you guys can accompany the best here, we sign the contract with them, or you guys want to do the job.
Mr. Leo, it's like you are reading in my mind because I actually assigned someone already for you.
Okay.
It's in my program.
On Monday,
it's coming here on Monday.
Sincerely, I'm waiting for 1 year. If after 1 month this guy is fake, I'll tell the public. These guys
sure,
are just
because
blowing,
it's very
these guys
easy
are
to
blowing
trace.
hot air.
Yeah, it's very easy to trace.
These guys are blowing hot air here.
Yeah.
Yes, but how do you become a student with AFADMA?
Well, it's all about you contacting us as we're talking. Our numbers are on the screen, I'm sure about that. And we have a talk. Registration at AFADMA is just 10,000 and the fee is 200,000. And you have to know a bit of usage of digital tools. If you don't know that, we are going to show you. You just need to know how to use Zoom, that you can be able to follow classes remotely. It doesn't matter where you are, as far as you're connected to the internet, you can be able to relate with us and follow your classes. So some of the things that the difficulties that we've been facing, just like Mr. Ewane said, is that when people sign up, when the time is going, they don't follow up classes, and at the end of the day, they are not being productive. When you are signing up, please, at this 4th batch that we are having, we have done a lot of changes, because just like Mr. Leo said, we want our credibility is the highest money that we are going to earn. We want to have people that we say we are training people who are very committed. So even at the basis of recruiting people, we are doing a lot of fact finding, we are doing a lot of background checking, and we are doing the signing of memorandum, so that if you are not performing up to a particular level, we should be able to kick you out, because we are getting people from overseas all over to come and train you, and they are being paid, and you are also spending your money. We will not accommodate you like they used to do in the secondary school days, that you be doing ping pong.
Yeah, but one thing I want those of you who are watching us, like I said last time, that there's a lot we can sell about ourselves. The internet is for you and I. It is not for a select few. But please, if you can spend some money to train yourself, or hire persons to handle either your business, to handle your personality, your image, and give yourself 6 months and see what will become of you. If you really want to be international, known in Asia, known in Europe, known in America, in Latin America, in Africa, the social media is the easiest method of getting through.
Yes,
absolutely. Like I was giving you statistics here last week. Remember, there are 5 billion people that are using social media on daily basis. Facebook alone is more than 2.9 billion people that are using it. Now imagine if you know how to navigate the internet, you know how to position a brand and make it relevant on the internet, and the demand is so huge here in Cameroon, because the truth being told, digital marketing is still a very blank field in Cameroon. We really need experts, and that is why the African Academy, which is a world-class digital marketing institution, we want to make sure we hire the best trainers to come and train you on these powerful skills.
Okay.
For those who want to join the next batch, the fourth batch that is starting next week, in 1 week, on the 29th of April, we are launching the next batch of the African Academy of Digital Marketing, and the promotion is still on for those who want to join this week. 25% discount. Mr. Nibapo said it's 200,000, but if you want to join this weekend, we are going to remove 50,000 from those 200,000, making your field to be 150,000 only. In addition to the skills you are going to learn, you are also going to get a free copy of this book, From Competition to Dominion, How to Conquer the African Market in the Digital Age. In addition to that, you are also going to get free follow-up, because after the training, and that's what our difference, after the training, we want to make sure we follow up with our students. It's not like in other institutions where they just train you, after that, goodbye, take care, and get lost. We want to make sure we follow up until you become successful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry, for coming.
You're welcome.
And also to you, Mr. Nibapo. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Leo.
Today is Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
We want to say thank you to all of you who took time off to watch this edition, and all of you who have been watching Prime across the week. Eli and Desmond, we say we're immensely grateful for the wonderful job you guys have done throughout the week. It's Friday indeed. Enjoy yourselves, but moderately. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.